Hello everyone, I'm Chester44 and welcome to this Let's Play of Neverwinter Nights 2, Mysteries of Westgate. Last episode, we stumbled into this house over here, which happened to be filled with spiders and the king of spiders. We killed all the spiders and the king of spiders, and it was a hell of a problem because the spiders happened to be powerful, and so was the king of spiders who kept dazing one of us, and the spiders kept poisoning us with spider venom and spiders! But we managed to complete it either way. Now it's time to continue looking through this place and see what we can find in the market. Oh, I didn't mention at the beginning of the last recording session, just mentioning it in passing, I got a new headset, so if the audio sounds a little different now, that's why. Shouldn't have changed much, if at all, though. Anyway, let's take a look at the statue we have here. Statue of Alias. This statue depicts a young, attractive woman crouched in a combat stance. The statue is of recent construction, but even so, it is surprisingly clean and unweathered. Read the inscription. This monument stands to honor Alias the Sellsword, who stood to honor Westgate with her great deeds in the year of the banner, 1368 DR. I ain't gonna spit on the statue. Alright, let's continue looking around the outside here. There doesn't really seem to be anything. We have the south exit here, but it... Oh, no, we can take the district exit. Door's barred from the other side. See if any of these people have anything to say. I don't think so. But now that I think about it, I wonder if anything... If the fire... Nope, the fire's still going on there. I'm guessing it'll probably go off sometime later. Okay, let's take a look up the, up this side. The west side, if there's going to be anything. There is a shop over there, so that'll be something. Commoner and a trader. Locked door there. Let me guess, barred? Yep, can't get it open. Commoner here. Here's this location. If you're new to Westgate, you'll simply must pay a visit to Mintassen's shop. I think that's what this is. Soldrion's stunning self-shining armor. Holy crap, there's a lot of things in here. You know, let's investigate them after we speak with Mintassen. Okay, I guess we gotta run around. Ah, welcome, my friend, to the shop of Mintassen the Magnificent. That's me. I am Mintassen, the Magnificent. Is there something wrong? You seem preoccupied. Excuse me? Well, you see, I've recently returned from a planar jaunt, and the effects of the travel have left me a little... woozy, shall we say? Oh, my apologies. Alright, let's see your wares. Superb! Here, take a look. Well, first of all, sell that, and sell Spider's Kiss. Alright, I don't have too much gold. Anti-magic cloak? Spell resistance, minor globe of invulnerability. Aurel's Truth, a robe. Not too bad. +1 and +2 items. Ooh, Displacer Beast Hide. Use displacement. Gauntlets of Ogre Power, that would be nice to have. Tempted to buy it, actually. It would cost like half our money. Let's see what else they have. Tasha's Atrocious Robe. Tasha, the planar-traveling enchantress, rumored to be from a parallel prime universe, is perhaps best remembered now for the development of her eponymous dwemer that causes uncontrollable fits of laughter. Tasha's hideous laughter, that spell. However, the diminutive wizard also created several powerful artifacts, this robe among them. +1 AC bonus, bonus spell feats, and improved saving throws. Okay. Mintassen's Miraculous Bracers. These items at first appear to be simple wrist or arm guards, but they surround the wearer with an invisible field of force and grant protection just like mundane armor. This pair of braces was created by Mintasen the Magnificent, famed wizard of Westgate, and he's very proud of them too, thank you very much. Plus 3 armor bonus, plus 5 hit points. Okay, that's good for a mage. Mantle of Kossith. Common among clerics and other powerful followers of Kossith, these cloaks are brilliant red and embroidered with images of flames. With it, the wearer can withstand the ravages of both natural and magical flames. And Jack's Folly. Enlarged person. Okay. Weapon-wise, Golem Slayer and Spider's Kiss. Scrolls and the like. And potions. Rings. Got a bunch of them here, actually. Wands, too. Though, what is Larok's Soul Stealer? Circle of Death and Finger of Death. Yeah, no thanks. Alias versus the Nightmasts. Interesting. This book contains an account of Alias the Sellsword's battles against the Nightmasts in the year 1368 DR. It is preceded by the following foreword. It seems like an age since Alias the Sellsword arrived in Westgate and commenced the grand adventures I write about in this book. At the time, we all hoped Alias, Westgate's greatest hero, had dealt a fatal blow to the Nightmasts, a group comprised of the city's worst criminals. Unfortunately, where evil takes root, it is not easily eradicated. In Westgate, the roots run very deep, through the subterranean city known as Undergate, through the shadowy alleys where dark deals are struck, through night itself. We have learned this lesson well in recent years as the Nightmasts have risen from the ashes under the leadership of a new figure assuming an old title, the Faceless. But do not despair, gentle reader. Rather, mark these words and draw the deeds that inspired them. Draw strength from the example laid before you, and strike out at tyranny and inequity wherever and whenever it rears its ugly, or should I say, faceless, head. This is the story of how Alias the Sellsword defeated the Nightmasts, with the help of Dragonbait the Sorial Paladin, Mintasen the Sage, Olive Ruskettel, and yes, yours truly. The Nightmasts were defeated once, and when a new hero steps forward, the one we've all been waiting for these past years, they will be defeated once more. Jamal the Thespian, 1370 DR. Okay. Okay, lesser magic bag I would actually like to have. In fact, I'm going to buy it. And in the lesser magic bag, I'll throw all of these items. There, that'll help. That too. There. Eventually I'll find another for something else. I'm not gonna buy the gauntlets yet. But let's take a look at what else we happen to have in Mintasen's shop. I am quite curious. Okay, we have the workbench for crafting. The Pedestal of Jondar the Valiant. This moss-covered stone pedestal has a horrid snake-haired head carved into the side, and the whole display seems oddly out of place in the store. A nearby placard explains its significance. Jondar the Valiant, one-time paladin of Helm, was most well known for her slaying of the Medusa in the foothills of the Starspire Mountains north of Ithmong in 1217 DR. In remembrance of the feat, Ithmong's Stonecutters Guild crafted a life-size statue of the hero to be placed in the town square in the middle of the Great Fountain. As the generations passed, the memory of the fear induced by the Medusa faded away, as did knowledge of the fate of the hero. The whole heroic tale was simply one that citizens of the city would tell visitors who came to gaze at the pigeon-stained statue now covered with moss. So imagine everyone's surprise when, in 1343 DR, a wizard by the name of Mibbit the Meddler, acting on a hunch, cast a stone-to-flesh spell on the statue. And Jondar got up, thanked him, and wandered away. Huh. Okay, huh. That's nice. I wonder if the other stories in here are going to be just as interesting. Let's see. Gavarok's Anvil. This anvil's surface is brittle and blackened, and it bears a tremendous rift-like crack through its center. This anvil once belonged to the great dwarven smith Gavarok, who called the city of Mirabar his home and workshop. On this anvil, Gavarok forged weapons and armor of the highest quality. While he kept it a secret, it was the anvil more than his own skill that allowed Gavarok to forge such marvelous masterpieces, for Gavarok had had the anvil secretly enchanted by an archmage. Gavarok's fame and pride ultimately proved to be his undoing. A mighty frost giant smith called Maruti heard of Gavarok's lofty claims and traveled to Mirabar to challenge the dwarf to a smithing contest. While the actual nature of the contest has been lost to the ravages of time, the outcome is known. Maruti, who went first, split Gavarok's anvil in half on his first strike. Gavarok, who was no longer able to use his anvil's magical powers to enhance his own art, lost the challenge and left Mirabar in disgrace. What became of Maruti is unknown, though some say he took Gavarok's cracked anvil back north with him as a trophy of his victory. Oh, that actually is cracked. Hold on, I gotta get a closer look at some of these things. Yeah, there's that's interesting, this pedestal. Oh, now I get why that's empty. Jondar's statue was on top of it, but then Jondar's statue turned into Jondar, and the pedestal is all that remains. Okay, I get it. Mintasan, by the way, what's your problem? Oh, it's just the same. Okay, nothing. Let's continue looking around. Red Wolf of Payet. This stuffed wolf has reddish fur and is slightly smaller than the varieties found in Faerun. Small or no, the creature has an unsettling gleam in its eye, even in death, suggesting it would be a dangerous creature to encounter in the wild. I'm sorry, that is small? That thing is bigger than I am! This is one of the many new animal species encountered by explorers from Amun when they discovered the mysterious land of Mastika in 1371 DR. The remarkable cunning of these creatures has led some to speculate that they are actually wolves with fox blood in them, though the lack of such crossbreeds in other places suggests a wholly different species. Oh dear, we have Fulfs. When construction of the city of Helmsport began in the Payet region, attacks from red wolves became all too common. After nearly a dozen workers were killed, colonial authorities organized a hunting party to track down and kill the pack leader. After successfully killing their prey, the hunters had the wolf stuffed and put on display in the city's Temple of Helm, much to the horror of the locals, who found such treatment disrespectful toward the animal. Though the wolf attacks ceased, several maladies afflicted the temple in the following days, leading natives to speculate that the red wolf spirit was taking its revenge. Though the Omnian settlers scoffed at such notions at first, serious misgivings arose when the temple's high priest died of a heart attack a few short steps from where the stuffed wolf stood. To ease everyone's mind, the stuffed red wolf was removed from the temple and eventually shipped back to Amun. Rumors of the curse of the red wolf persisted as several owners of the animal, all followers of Helm, perished under unusual circumstances. It's not surprising that there are no shrines to Helm in Mintasan's shop. It's likely he won't be taking the Vigilant One as his patron deity for as long as he possesses this particular item. I wonder if something would happen to us if we happened to worship Helm instead of Tyr. Let's see here. Chultan Throttler. As you approach this plant, thin vines emerge from the soil and begin to flail about. The plant's stalk quivers slightly, either due to the disruption of its soil or, most disturbingly, in anticipation of a meal. The Chultan Throttler, or Nabuklai as it's known in its native land, is one of many dangerous varieties of plants found in the great jungle of Chult. While the plant does indeed throttle prey with its vines, victims are equally likely to die of suffocation after becoming hopelessly entangled and dragged below ground. Such premature burial has undoubtedly been the fate of many adventurers who have ventured into the jungle, though Chultan legends tend to shun tales dealing with the local flora in favor of ones dealing with Chul's famous fauna, namely dinosaurs. Fortunately, the size of its enclosure doesn't permit this particular Chultan Throttler to grow to a dangerous size. Still, it would be unwise to let your guard down while standing anywhere close. Noted. Okay. The Stone Tree of Rethild. This strange stone object was removed from some ruins deep in the depths of Rethild, the great swamp located on the eastern edge of Halrua's wall. It resembles a tree of sorts, with sinister, spine-like stone protrusions and a central tentacle-like trunk. Also kind of looks like that tree that we found in that, was it Imaskiri? It might have been Imaskiri, that one temple where we were trying to find the, where we were dealing with the 6 spirits that we had to bring to it in order to get the, ritual of purification. You remember that? It looks exactly like that. I think it's the same model. The stone is extremely warm to the touch, surprisingly so. Whether or not it possesses any magical properties, you have no idea. Fair enough. Suldrian's stunning, self-shining armor. It's also moving. This set of animated armor is shiny beyond compare, no doubt because it routinely polishes itself with the dry rag it has clutched in its right gauntlet. Suldrian's stunning, self-shining armor was commissioned by Duke Suldrian of Baldur's Gate in 1244 DR. Ambitious and more than a little vain, Suldrian insisted on projecting a glorious image whenever he appeared in public. To that end, he sought a set of armor that was every bit as grand as that of the city's founder, the legendary hero Balduran. Suldrian spared no expense in the armor's construction, even paying for a costly enchantment. Following Suldrian's instructions, a wizard artisan cast a spell that permanently animated the armor, much like solitary wizards animate armor to scare off intruders and perform routine tasks. This armor had but one task, to polish itself whenever it became scuffed or sullied. The wizard assured Suldrian that animating the armor in this way would not interfere with it being worn whenever the Duke wished to show it off. Oh yes, it will. And the Duke did show it off, at every opportunity. Though Suldrian had only a minor role in the Flaming Fist mercenary company, he managed to insert himself into every public ceremony in the city, always wearing his shiny armor. Unfortunately, this led to him to becoming a laughingstock in certain quarters, where sniggering critics noted the discrepancy between the illustriousness of the armor and that of the man who wore it. When the bread riots of 1249 DR broke out, Suldrian saw an opportunity to prove his critics wrong. Donning his splendid armor and wielding his newly forged magical hammer, he led a contingent of Flaming Fist mercenaries against a throng of rioters. Here comes the comeuppance. Suldrian's charge, as it came to be known, was a success at first. At least a third of the mob dispersed immediately upon laying eyes on the stunning figure of Suldrian sitting atop an enormous, and it must be said, expensive grey stallion. Unfortunately, just when it looked like Suldrian would have his moment of glory, he was struck with a projectile from the crowd. Here we go. The exact nature of the projectile is a matter of debate, and it's a debate that has played out in crude fest hall jokes and raunchy bard songs ever since. For the purposes of the story, all that's really needed is to point out that the projectile was unclean, and that when it struck, disaster struck with it. Sullied as it had never been sullied before, Suldrian's armor immediately seized a nearby banner and began frantically polishing itself, against the will of its wearer. Here we go. Unable to control his movements, Suldrian was soon unhorsed, and his mercenaries, confused by the spasmodic movements of their leader, were sent fleeing. Suldrian quickly found himself alone and at the mercy of the mob. An unfortunate situation indeed, for mobs are not known for their mercy. When Suldrian's body was found the next day, many were surprised to find that his magnificent armor had not been taken. It's speculated that looters were scared off by the belief that Suldrian could not be killed. No matter how many deadly blows they gave him, he just kept cleaning his armor. Oh, well, that is quite a story there. I need some water. Oh, there we go. Alright, next. The game set of Mujibar the Foolish. This appears to be a normal deck of playing cards with one exception. Oh shit, the deck of many things. There are far more cards here than you would expect to see in a normal playing deck. Oh, thank God it's not. 2 dice lie nearby, and a small placard tells the tale of these implements. Read the placard. According to Kalashite legend, Mujabar, a rogue in the employ of the Ulshim Guild in 1298 DR, had accrued massive gambling debts to nefarious entities well prepared and able to do him much harm. With no one left to turn to, he approached the wealthy merchant Dao Jin Khan Zorin Ka for a loan. The Khan proposed instead a game of chance. If Mujabar won, the Khan would gift him the money. But if the Khan won, Mujabar would owe him his soul. The game was simple. A deck of 90 cards was produced with the numbers 1 through 9 on 10 cards each. Each participant would roll a pair of dice and draw the number of cards indicated from the top of the deck. The one with the lowest total sum would win. Going first, the Khan rolled a pair of 1s, and he smiled when he drew a 4 and a 7 from the deck for a total of 11. Mujabar rolled next, and he gulped audibly when 2 5s came up. Slowly, Mujabar drew 10 cards from the deck so that neither he nor the Khan could see what was drawn. Then when all 10 were taken, he flipped them up to reveal the results to both. Amazingly, Mujabar had drawn all 10 1s from the deck for a total of 10. Laughing in relief, the rogue demanded his money from the disbelieving Khan, who quickly became enraged. A bet was a bet, however, and a djinn always makes good. Of course, that didn't mean he couldn't first kill the rogue after accusing him of stacking the deck. The Khan quickly introduced Mujabar to his scimitar, but was true to his letter of his word, as he placed the money in Mujabar's pockets before dumping the body into the back alleyways of Kalampur. 3 days later, the rotting corpse remained, but the money was gone, only to be replaced by thousands of empty ale bottles and tens of thousands of memories for a lifetime. To this day, stories of that massive party are told by the oldest of the back alley drunks with more than a hint of nostalgia, and the wretched and poor of Kalampur can be heard to yearn and pray for another Mujabar. Okay, that was an interesting one. An empty chest for some reason. That looks like the broken version of the Sword of Gith, or at least that's the model. What's this here? The Ashes of Drazakatus. The adventuring mage Visdun Farada, who hailed from Waterdeep, traveled all across Faerun in an attempt to perform mighty deeds and, in doing so, make a name for himself. Fardara resolved that in order to gain fame, he would have to do something truly inspiring. Fardara traveled to the Grey Peak Mountains, where he had heard that a fearsome red dragon known as Drazakatus laired. The mage did not come unprepared, of course. He first purchased a powerful wand of disintegration in Waterdeep for a hefty sum of gold, which left Fardara nearly broke. When he arrived face to face with the dragon, Fardara whipped out his wand and triggered its enchantment. Miraculously, the mighty worm collapsed to the ground of its cavern, rendered nothing more than a pile of sand. Ecstatic and certain that this feat would finally net him a spot in the ballads of the bards, Fardara collected the ashes of the dragon he had slain and returned to Waterdeep, where he was hailed as a hero for almost a week. The ashes were stolen from Fardara's home, most likely by a rival mage intent on using the dragon's ashes for one of many experiments. Without proof of his deeds, Fardara could no longer spread word of his feat, and he was quickly forgotten by the people of Waterdeep. Well, that's unfortunate, and kinda sad in a way. Alright, what have we got next? I think this might be the last thing we have here. The Armoire of Queen Serenia of Mulhorand. That's very small. This armoire is positively tiny, though it is exquisitely made of the finest wood and to the very highest degree of artistry. Tied to the little knob is a note on a paper almost as large as the armoire itself. Read the note. Oh wait, let me guess, Queen Serenia, is that a fairy? In the fading years of the Mulhorandi Second Empire, the young pharaoh Sorenhotep I demanded that he would have a queen whose beauty was unsurpassed by any other mortals, and so he sent his messengers far and wide. At last they returned with news that the Fey Princess Serenia was just such a woman. Here we go. Called it. Immediately the pharaoh dispatched diplomats at the head of a caravan, the likes of which had rarely been seen before. 5,000 soldiers, 100 wizards, 40 bards, dozens of wagons made from gold, cages full of animals from the royal zoo, mechanical wonders from the national workshops. No expense was spared. Yet when Serenia met the ambassadors, none of the display impressed her. She needed neither wealth nor jewels, she said, for many kings possessed these. The Mulhorandi ambassador asked what she did desire, to which she answered that she would only consent to wed a king who could produce for her the fabled unicorn, for on that alone would she ride to her wedding. When the ambassador delivered the news to the pharaoh, he consulted his wizards, who told him the unicorn lived in the Ganath wood, but was so fast that no hunter could catch it. Only the purest of maidens could soothe the beast long enough for it to be harnessed. Word went out, and all the young maidens in the kingdom were rounded up and taken to Ganathwood, but alas, none was able to lure the unicorn to them. Months passed, and the pharaoh became mightily discouraged. Therefore, the Princess Serenia was surprised when a short time later, the Mulhorandi ambassador again arrived with news that the unicorn had been captured. When challenged to produce the animal, the ambassador said he would do so, but the princess would need to go to the Ganath wood where the pharaoh was keeping it. Oh, you tricky bastard. When Serenia arrived, she saw not a soul for several hours, but finally the trees parted and the unicorn strode forth to lay its head upon her lap. Suddenly, the pharaoh's soldiers leapt out of the shadows and flung a rope around the beast's neck. The princess was at first incensed, for she had been tricked into capturing the beast herself. At last, however, she was forced to admit that the pharaoh had outwitted her, and with him now able to produce the unicorn, she agreed to the marriage. Okay. Still doesn't fully explain why it's tiny, but again, I'm guessing because it's a fae, and fae are like fairies. That is ominous, interesting. I don't know what that is, and I wish I could read this and see what it was. Oh, this is a very interesting place, and it looks like this took the entire episode. So yeah, I'll take that as the end of this episode. I think it works out. And with that, I'm going to end this episode here. Next episode, we'll take a look around the northern side here again. Probably make our way to the Erdo household, where we can probably complete that quest. And then after that, we'll take a look at the central area before going into the tower. But that'll be in the next episode. So until then, I'm Chester44. That is Alueth Naraken, Renara, and Mantides. This has been a Let's Play of Neverwinter Nights 2, Mysteries of Westgate. I shall see you all next time.